I received a comment on my Instagram asking if there was a video on my new experiment style, which I've been doing lately. Since there wasn't one, this is my attempt to explain the boundaries in which I operate. Every edge retention test I've seen anyone do, they start and end at specified checkpoints. That makes running cut tests very simple, very straightforward. However, the charts, the rankings suffer from tunnel vision thinking in my eyes. Because the simple steel is able to be touched up faster than a carbide rich steel like S90, for example. But what is actually the difference in a real world simulation? I came up with a platform to test edge longevity, which differs from edge retention because touch ups are actually scheduled. It is my attempt to even the playing field so all steels are evaluated without prejudice. In order to avoid bias, I decided edge retention figures were a flaw to test from. So, even like steels like Rex 121, that hits over 600 in my testing, and Nitro X7 only hits 195. So, I tested when edges fail at front end sharpness by my definition. This is my definition, it's nobody else's. Okay? I use the index card method as my barometer for testing pass or fail. It's kind of unique to me. Other people use paper. I use the index card. It allows me to actually detect how the edge actually blunts, like blunting patterns, which is unique to me. I haven't seen anybody else do it that way. However, like when I do my testing, when it doesn't pass the index card, I feel like the knife is a hazard to the end user at that point because it won't be able to stick and do cuts. And obviously, a hazard to the end user is problematic. But to test front end sharpness, I needed something a little more finer, a little more flimsy than an index card method. So I used a roll of receipt paper that I bought at Wally World. Okay, that is my barometer for front end sharpness. I like front end sharpness because within that range of front end sharpness, I do believe that a knife will be able to be touched up and get back, to working sharp or, better performance. Okay, most people do that. They use it on a stone or a strop. Most people strop. I obviously advocate for stroppy stuff, Max, because Max is a stand-up guy and he makes a hell of a good product. And so I operate on that with the front end sharpness. Now, certain steels, obviously, like I said before, are going to operate higher in the front end sharpness, but I wanted to make an even platform. I'm trying to make high carbide steels go against even simple steels. Whether it does 600, 200, I want to make it even. So what I decided was at 40% of the front end sharpness number, that's when I would do the scheduled touch-up. I decided to use, a stone that was gifted to me by a buddy of mine on Instagram named Eugene. He got me this Veneve pocket stone. This one is a 5.3 micron. Now for test edges, I use a 1K super vitrified diamond stone. Wicked Edge, they list that as about 17 micron. Okay, which is 1,000 grit roughly. And the 5.3 micron is between 4,000 grit and 7,000. Now, most people, they have strops that they use to actually, get the knife back to sharp. It's generally finer than the finishing stone that you use for most people. Most people have one or two strops. Obviously the the enthusiasts, they have, more strops and more compounds to actually work with. But generally, most of the time, the strop is higher than that. So What I like about using the stone versus an actual strop is I can actually put some barkeeper's friend on the stone itself, and I can clean the stone between every single knife that I test. So that way I'm giving every knife a chance to perform to its highest potential. Strops, they get loaded, for testing purposes, I think it makes a lot of sense, but for real world usage, people could just use a strop, drive it till the wheels fall off. However, for testing, you have to have set boundaries and actually set limitations so everything is as even as you could make it. This is my style. This is what I like to do. If batoning was my thing, I'd probably buy like a bagel slicer or something like that and actually baton through like charcoal briquettes if I wanted metrics with that. But that's not my style. I use the ice. I do other things. I use the sanding roll. That's unique to me. I use the index card, also unique to me. This is what I do. Hey. Now, for touch-ups, I decided that 4 passes per side at 40% of the front-end sharpness is exactly what I wanted to do because it's well within the range of the front-end sharpness, and I would do the amount of cutting. I have to get around to this CPM D2 Tried and True, which I originally was going to do, but I ended up doing the CPM 154 Steadfast instead. I've done the production shard in Nitro X7 from Roman, K-Knives Switzerland. And what I do is I would actually cut the amount of times, the schedule. I check the edge on the index card. And if it passes, then I would do the 4 passes per side on the 5.3 Veneve micron stone. And I would just keep on going round after round after round and actually tally the rounds. And then I would be able to put in the final edge figure. Something like this, the shard, I got 16 rounds. And I got a net score of 572, which is right in between Maximate and overall edge retention of Rex 121. This CPM D2 Tried and True, I haven't tested it, but I have tested the CPM 154 Steadfast. That actually got 17 rounds. It actually passed well over 1,700 cuts. That's leading the charts for right now, but like I said, this is still a new style of test that I kind of came up with, rather recently. These are my knives. These are my tests. This is stuff that I find interesting. This is stuff that I want to find out. I only test I schedule, or not schedule, but I structure my tests to find out stuff that I find interesting. I like to fuck around and find out. I feel like people just look at just cut test numbers and they're just like tunnel vision. I don't understand that. I want to see how we can compare steels in different environments and compound different variables, whether it's ice block testing or soaking it in Sunny Delight or whatever. To me, I find that rather interesting. This is stuff that I find, this is what I enjoy doing. I like posting up all my results on Instagram. I don't like making long-ass videos about this stuff because I think I'm beating a dead horse. Obviously, if you look at my Instagram, I got enough material to make hundreds of videos, but I just simply choose not to. I'd rather do it journal format so I can put out the results as fast as possible for anybody that's interested in. I make it free. I try to get it out as fast as humanly possible. I'm not trying to gain popularity. I'm not trying to do any of that type of stuff. My goal is to actually provide content that's based on reality and factual numbers. And like I said, these are my edges. This is what my knife will actually do. If it interests you, fine, great. If not, carry on, no hard feelings. But my goal is to actually be truthful and be honest. Because at the end of the day, why the hell, what do I got to gain by lying about how great a certain steel performs? I'm here to write reality checks that don't bounce. Okay? That's what my goal is. Now, obviously, with this longevity style of testing, I do use up more cutting media. However, in my opinion, I think the juice is worth the squeeze.